And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let us now move on to our first item of the week, and we're talking about the Android Basics, and we're talking about ebook readers. I know, John, you don't really care too much about ebook readers. Tell me and our listeners why it is that you don't necessarily care about ebook readers. Did any of them steal away your girlfriend at some time? What's going on with the hit love relationship between you and the ebook readers?
I don't know. I do use reading mode all the time for articles, right? But if I have an actual book that I want to listen to, I just prefer like an actual narrator. So I'll just get the audiobook of the book if it's available. I mean, if I really wanted to read a book and it didn't have an audiobook, obviously I'd have to use an e-reader. But yeah, that's just how I do books, I guess. Which is funny because I was when we were talking about the podcasts a few weeks ago, I told you I don't take. You kind of laughed at me when I said I don't take podcasts very seriously. Like they're kind of background noise to me, and they don't matter. But when I do listen to a book, like I want to be dialed in, and I want to, it just matters to me that it's a real person for whatever reason reading it to me. I mean, we're getting to the point where some of these do sound like real people, but even though they sound real, like them trying to sound real kind of annoys me at the same time. Like hearing them take breaths and stuff, and it's like, don't take a breath. You're not a person, right? So I don't know. I just at this point, I mean, things may change in the future, but at this point, I prefer real people narrators.
Yeah, and I do understand that, some people are like that. They just like to hear the real McCoy and all of that. But like you said, though, we are now in that era where all these AI voices, and I'm always looking at that ElevenLabs reader because that Brian voice that you guys know that I use as my default when it comes to the ElevenLab reader. It sounds so realistic to me, humanly speaking, and it just it even has like if there's some place that someone is supposed to raise their voice in either anger or whatever, it does that, and so to me, it just the barrier between the human voices and that AI is so close together that it's so hard to believe that we've just started, just not too long ago, and look at how far we've come. So I'm just imagining what it would be like in a couple more years and whether or not we'll be needing any human narrators, John. So that's left to be seen. But I think as it is, we will always have human narrators. So, Karine, you and I love ebook readers. I have a bunch of those things from the FB reader. I think I'll be demonstrating an FB reader here some time to come, maybe later on. I don't remember that we have demonstrated the FB reader, and then this one that I was also going to demonstrate. It's called a Cantook, Cantook. I think it used to be Aldico, Aldico, Aldiko, and used to have the classic one, and now they have a new one that they call the Cantook. And I realized it's kind of really interesting. It's almost like what I'll be demonstrating later on in our app of the week. But I have several of these, and some of my favorites, like I've always said, is that ElevenLab reader, and then of course, we have that Speech Central, which is not necessarily blindness specific, but it's one of those ebook readers off the shelf, as I call them, because there's nothing special about them that we have. And then I have that Libera or whatever that we have, and then I have a bunch of those in my ebook readers. I probably have 12 or 15 ebook readers. And from time to time, I switch from different one to another one to see what has changed. playbooks. John, I know you do audiobooks, but playbooks, though, it supports audiobooks from Google. Have you tried playbooks?
No. I I use Audible and I use Libby, and then I use Smart Audiobook Player or Listen Audiobook Player for those uh, audiobooks that have just appeared on my device somehow.
Yeah, so when we get to audiobooks, John, we're going to be counting on you because, I mean, outside of the board from the National Library Service here in the States, I think that's the one that I have. And I have that Listen Audio book player, and I also have the Smart Audio Player. But I haven't used those because I don't have any audiobooks. But yeah, ebook readers, I think for me, one of the reasons why I like ebook readers is the fact that if there's something that I'm not familiar with the spelling, I can find out the spelling of that stuff. And then secondly, like I said, the table of contents support is key for me in an ebook reader where I could jump and skip all that, prefaces and all that intro, blah, blah, blahs. I want to get to the meat of the book. So I just want to jump to chapter 1 and start listening and all of that. So I like ebook readers that support the table of contents. And there are some of them that don't, and some of them do. But most of the ones that I have, they have that support. And especially, I also wanted to be able to support the TTS output. Karen, girl, how about you?
Well, I'm a book lover, actually, and I'm not at all a fan of audiobooks. Although some people might say, okay, but when you're using a TTS engine or an AI voice, you're actually listening using, like, it's an audio at the end of the day. But I like to select the voice that I want to listen the book with. And maybe you remember, I was telling you once that I'm the person who just uses a female voice for the female narrator, for example, if I'm reading a novel, and the male voice for the male. And sometimes I could just, if there are several characters, I might switch between the voices according to how I think the character is. So this can't be done with audiobooks. And well, regarding ebook readers, let's say that I came late to all of this. I was always the traditional person, who just uses the TTS, the screen reading, like I was using Office. When Office was something that you could use. No, it's not. Word isn't the thing that you would be happy to use. Microsoft Word on the Android, actually, it's not that good. But then I started using Add Voice Aloud. I used it for a bit, and then I used Speech Central. Speech Central is one of the good ebook readers out there. And I use Quickify, not really for book reading, for article reading, just because of the Azure Voices, the Microsoft Azure Voices. I like the voices. So I always see myself just sharing the articles to Quickify and starting reading with the Ryan UK voice. It's a great one. So the point why I'm not actually using I'm not like the person who was before with books, because currently I'm subscribed to a book app, which is a library, an Arabic library. So the point is they don't offer the books as EPUBs or any other format. So you have to open the book using their app, using their reader. But the good thing that you could copy the pages because the text is exposed to the screen reader. So it's possible to copy the pages. So because I'm spoiled by the 11 reader voices, which are making me feel I'm unwilling to listen to books using my TTS engine. So I usually copy, for example, 20 or 30 pages, and then I import them to ElevenLabs, and I read using ElevenLabs, just because the AI voices, although they act weirdly sometimes, but they are good. They are at the next level. And because we are, as blind people, used to the expressions that are not in their place. Like when the TTS engine tries to give to be expressive, not as it should be. So it's just okay to have this AI voice also does this sometimes not in their place. So it expresses not as it should. But actually, for me, I'm used to this. I feel like it's funny sometimes to see these expressions and this way of expressing ideas wrongly. I think it's entertaining. I think. I want to talk about Speech Central. Speech Central is one of very good apps, and it's available for blind people. It's something generous from the developer. If you are a blind person, when it detects that you're using a screen reader, either G-Show or TalkBack, it will give you all of the features for free, so which is great. And it supports the Google online voices and also the voices that you have on your device, local TTS engines. And he started supporting ChatGPT, GPT-4o mini voices on iOS. I hope that this will come to Android soon. But the problem with Speech Central is, well, did you face the issue when you try to open a book and it says this app uses TTS engine from Google, and you should install it first, and then you have the OK button. Did you face this? Although Google TTS is already installed.
Exactly. I've been wondering why that is. It's somehow failing to see that the TTS is there already, and it just assumes that you don't have it for some reason, even though when you click that OK, everything is fine. So I don't think that the developer, maybe he hasn't been seeing that. I don't know what the case is, but I always find that to be very funny every single time that I try to use it. And I haven't used it in quite a while. But like you've said, if it now supports these other voices that you're talking from, Chat GPT or whatever on Fruitvale, I hope it comes to Android soon. And I'm thinking he might, because if those voices are not necessarily coming from him, but coming from, maybe Chat GPT or whatever, that he would give us those voices as well. But yeah, I like Speech Central, Karen, and it used to be my default prior to the ElevenLabs reader. That is, Speech Central used to be my go-to, but with that ElevenLabs, it has become my default. The only shortcoming that I have with ElevenLabs that I wish the developer could fix is the part of the exposure of the text. I like the text to be exposed to the screen reader in the event that I come across certain words that I'm not familiar with. I want to be able to figure out the spelling of that word. So far, that's an impossibility with the ElevenLabs reader. Do you find that to be like a deal breaker? I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's an annoying thing that we can't see the words on the screen with our screen reader, even though they're right there.
I was going to ask you actually, are sighted people able to see the actual text?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, the text is all there. I mean, it's nice text out there. And but then you said something earlier, Karen. So you copy, so the your library app, so the format is not an EPUB, so you have to copy page by page or several pages until you finish copying the book. That's a very laborious process.
No, actually, I don't copy all of the book, because I know that I'm gonna, for example, read for about 30 minutes or whatever. So I just copy, about 30 pages, for example, or 40 pages. Yeah, but I'm a G-Show user, don't forget this. So it's not really a tedious process to copy, because I would be... So the format of the book is each page is one focus. So for G-Show user like me, it's just like I do the copy gesture for the first focus, then I move to the next focus, and then I use that pen. So it will take, 2 or more 3 seconds maybe to copy each page. So it's not something that's really problematic. But going back to ElevenLabs and the exposure of text to screen reader, actually, for me, it's a deal breaker. Yeah, but not with ElevenLabs for one reason, which is the ElevenLabs voices. I think you also are forgiving them just for this, because I mean they are really different level. when you start reading with these AI voices, you feel I don't want to go back to my TTS to my boring TTS engine. I don't want to like, I like them. So, and there are a lot of them, and they are all available for free for now. Well, for me, I don't know if I'm going to subscribe when it's out of the free stage, but I think it will be something like, it will be hard to return back to the voices, to reading via the old traditional TTS voices that we have.
Talking about, subscribing to the voices, I've been thinking about that, and it kind of saddens me. I mean, it has not happened, and yet I don't want to be pessimistic, and yet in the same breath, I want to be optimistic, thinking, hey, this is a possibility, something like this could happen, and if it does happen, what am I going to do? I've come to love that free voices, and it's not like I use several. I just use that Brian as my default, because I really like it. And I don't know, is it Brian or Ryan? I think it's Ryan, right? I don't remember. Maybe it's Brian.
There is Brian, and there is the Ryan Kirk,
one.
which is one of the voices that you have to save yourself. I mean, it's not from the default voices. You have to go to voices and tap save. I use both, actually. And to be honest, I switch between about 10 voices. So, like, for example, the novel that I'm reading right now, which is, by the way, called Our House. Maybe you know it, actually. It's
Our House.
You can search
is that
for it. Yeah,
a fictional book? Because I'm not so much into fiction. Now and then I read fiction books, and I've been reading lots of Louis L'Amour. Is it Louis L'Amour or something? I've read a lot of his books. I think I've read like. Gosh, almost all of his books. I've read probably like 40 books, and that's because I'm using that, ElevenLabs reader, and it's just so nice to listen to those books. And I don't know. The good part also is that I can import like Bookshare books. I download them as EPUB and just use my ElevenLabs reader instead of the original or official Bookshare reader.
Yeah, but does it support table of contents?
ElevenLabs, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
does it?
It does. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it supports table of contents, and the only drawback, like I said, is that exposure of text that it doesn't support, but it does support chapters or table of contents, so you can skip all that nonsense and go straight to the meat. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very good application, and as I was saying earlier, it's really like great to be able to switch easily between voices. And for people who are like wondering how you can save voices, you can go to the voices tab, and then there you will find a lot of voices, maybe like 50 voices, I think. Well, let's say that some of them are trash. But like there are some good ones.
No. Listen here, girl. What do you think? Trash? Maybe somebody's food.
Okay.
One
problem.
one man's trash is another man's trash.
Exactly, So there are a lot of some other languages in there that I probably don't care about or don't know. But that's somebody's food.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I don't like even the iconic voices that they are making a lot of like hype about them. Okay, those iconic voices, I'm not a fan at all.
You don't like those iconic
old
voices?
People who have memories, maybe with those voices. Okay, but not me, actually. So yeah, but when you save a voice, actually you can use actions to preview a voice, which is great. This is, I think, the only place where actions are supported. Then if you like a voice, you will be able to save the voice, so it's added to your list of voices. So when you are reading a book, you could just tap select voice and then my voices and select the voice that you want and just tap save, and you can continue reading using that voice, and you can switch voices as much as you want, like whenever you want. You can just switch the voice and continue reading. So it's really something great about ElevenLabs, and also the multi-language support. So a voice is able to read Arabic, is able to read English, is able to read Turkish and many other languages, which is really great, especially that because these are AI voices. So the way they are trained and the way they are really able to read, I mean, this voice the samples that they used might not include any of the special Arabic letters, but in the same time, you will see like it's reading the Arabic text like an Arabic native. It's able to read all of the letters, even the letters that are really hard to be read. And I think that the person himself, I mean, the actual person who has the voice might not be able at all to read these letters, but at the same time, you will be able to read them using ElevenLabs, which is really great. So ElevenLabs has this special AI voices. So, and they are, I think, the best with respect to AI created voices until now. So yeah, they are great.
I am glad they're supporting the Arabic language, because sometimes a lot of them don't support many languages. But to see that ElevenLabs supporting several different languages, I think that's one of the plus. And no wonder, they're like the king when it comes to these AI voices. I know there's another one there. I think it's the Hume, HUME, something like that. But I don't see them with an app, and I think you have to pay for it and things like that. But anyway, ElevenLabs, until something changes, it will be my default ebook reader. And even if I have to copy pages and paste it in there, I'm happy to do so. The good thing is that it supports, EPUB, PDF, and does it? I think it supports TXT as well, doesn't it? I don't know. I haven't had anything in a text format that I would want to try it with. But have you tried anything that is text-based, like a .txt file, Karen, and if it supports it or not?
Yeah, indeed, it supports TXT format because I tried before. So yeah, this is, but I don't know about Word documents. I don't remember if I tried something. Did you try anything like Docs, or did you try?
I haven't, and that's an interesting thing because I don't have any books or whatever documents that I want to use. So I will try that after this and see if it supports such. But I don't know. Something tells me it might. I may be wrong, but I want to err on the part that it would support a .docx file.
Another ebook reader worth mentioning is the @Voice Aloud, which is also one of the old ebook readers. I think maybe it's 2013 or maybe earlier or something like that. I remember that I saw this one like maybe 10 years ago or before, actually. So it's one of the old ones. And one thing that I should praise the developer for is the consideration of accessibility. He cares about accessibility. When you try to talk with him about a certain accessibility issue, he's always collaborating. He's always trying to do his best, which is something great. Ebook readers are loved by sighted and non-sighted, actually. So sighted people also use them, also benefit from them. Also, even the read aloud feature in the ebook readers using the engine, TTS engine, is something that also sighted people use. But when this benefit also blind people as well, this is great, especially when you're talking about mainstream apps. You are getting updates. You are getting usually you're getting better support. So this is great. I like when a mainstream app is used also by blind people, and also blind people are able to take advantage of it. And @Voice is one of these apps. And I think, if I remember correctly, actually, I haven't used it since a while, but I think that it also now supports Azure Voices. It also supports Amazon as well, but I think you have to enter the necessary data yourself. So if you are able to get the API key and stuff. So you will be able to add the voices. So you are able to read using these voices with add voice. This is what I remember had happened. I think this is the case now. Also, you can use as well the TTS engines on your phone. And then something that I like about add voice, it's more simple. It's more, let's say, it has a better UI, I think, compared to Speech Central. Like Speech Central, sometimes you feel when you go to settings and try to select the TTS engine, try to select voices, you feel like it's like not the best experience. It's slightly confusing. Sometimes you feel that your screen reader is about to crash sometimes. So yeah, but AdVoice is better in this case. So I think this is a great thing about AdVoice Aloud. Also, you can the text is exposed to the screen reader, and you can, of course, read using CTS as I was talking before. So yeah, but one thing that I want to talk about with respect to all of these ebook readers, I hope that it will be fixed, or any ebook reader will just work on this. The problem with the text, you usually aren't able to use, for example, headings, or to use links of the granularity of your screen reader to move, even if the book itself supports headings or the links. So this is, I think, a problem. If this navigation is supported using TalkBack, for example, it will be easier with some books to be to navigate them, which is not the case until this moment. At least I don't know about any ebook reader that has this support. So I don't know. Do you think that it's something that you could care about, Warren?
So I'm thinking, though, could the problem then be coming from the screen reader? Have you tried that with your confused screen reader and unable to get to the links? I'm just kind of thinking that if the links are already embedded in the books, for example, and one switches to the link, if you're using a screen reader, one should be able to get to it. But if we're not getting to it, then I think we have an inherent problem somewhere that needs to be fixed. I haven't had the need to do that, but I've seen, links in books when I'm reading, especially with the screen reader. Some of them have links in there, like you've indicated. So you don't see that with CSR either, to where you could jump to a link?
Well, I tried with headings a while before, and it didn't work. Actually, I think also this could be due to something related to how it exposes the text after because it usually extracts the text. So I think it could be extracting it unformatted. So this could be the reason, actually, for the screen reader not seeing them as headings, for example. So this could be the case. I don't know. But I remember that it didn't work, at least with headings, with both. Actually, Jisho can't navigate with headings or links if you're not using web views. So this is a problem of Jisho. But with TalkBack also, it doesn't work. So I don't know if there's something that has changed recently, but I remember that this was a problem.
So that's a homework. I'm going to try to see what I, find out, because I've never really tried to do that. But going back to the AdVoice Aloud, you're correct. AdVoice Aloud reader came to us, I think, back in January of 2013. So we're talking of 12 years ago. And that one thing that you mentioned, the guy is very proactive about anything having to do with accessibility. And it supports other formats as well, as you indicated earlier, carrying, especially you could also read Bookshare books with it, but it's a little bit, the implementation is not very good. You have to go to whatever and try to say, hey, open with whatever, and then choose AdVoice Aloud reader. I talked to the guy, if you could just implement it, and he said, well, if this works, I'm not going to worry about it. So that's one of those things. But other than that, it's just a great ebook reader. And like you said, the layout is very simplistic. And, I'm all about simplicity. I like things that are easy and very simple, so that people are not confused. You don't have to dig through tons of different settings to find things. I mean, at Voice Aloud, make no mistake, it has lots of settings, but the UI is very clean and simple.